the Game Awards are last night, and Vera was so excited that she had to leave early so that she could go watch the Game Awards.
Well, it's your thing. It's my thing, and I wanted to be able to post about it in Discord and hang out with people and chat about it.
Did you see what happened at the end of the show?
I did, and I think that everybody else did too, since it's been trending on social media ever since it happened, and everyone was like, what the hell was that?
And what happened? How would you best describe it?
There was a strange teenage-looking male standing behind the team doing their acceptance speech for Elden Ring.
Yes.
And at the very end of the stream, he walks up to the mic and he says, I want to nominate my Reform Orthodox Rabbi, Bill Clinton, for this award.
And then it pans out.
They go to the music, and then they go back to the host, Jeff Keighley, which is not normal for them. And then he says, all right, eventful night. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah.
Between this and the guy who went off on Balenciaga, there's nothing I love more than watching like talking heads on TV look awkward because things aren't going the way they planned. That's becoming my new
guy though.
That's going to become my new like thing to look up online. Like everyone, you've got your like trends that you like. I'm going to look up like things where like presenters look awkward.
So like we didn't know this when we chose it as a topic, but there's a lot more to the story. This person is named Matan Evan, and he actually, since he was of a prepubescent age, has been on YouTube doing political commentary, mainly in support of the Freedom for Hong Kong movement, and he appeared on InfoWars getting interviewed by Owen Schroyer.
When he was
12.
lie.
When he was like literally not even 12. He looked so young. And he was doing these political commentary videos with like a normal kid's bedroom in the background, very jarring, decals of R2-D2 on the wall, basketball hoop on the bedroom door, like fully a child.
Yes. It's so bizarre.
So it's interesting that he made this comment about something related to Judaism when wearing Yeezys on stage.
It feels like political theater in a weird like, I mean, whoever did it is bad at their job because I have no idea what they're trying to say.
Right.
But, you know, maybe that's the point.
He could just be straight up crazy.
Or
like
trolling.
We haven't found out enough details yet.
And they did arrest him, but
at the bare minimum, the guy that interrupted the Elden Ring speech has been on InfoWars, so probably don't meme what he said mindlessly, especially since it involves invoking Judaism in some way. Just a small warning, that was from Shattered Earth, and that was
But he's been arrested since this happened.
He was arrested last night. Jeff Keighley had tweeted, we're sorry for the interruption. He has been arrested, but Jeff Keighley didn't really say anything else about it.
Also, I'm looking at you, Will Smith. This guy just got up on stage and said some crap, and you got up on stage.
They still haven't ramped up the security at award shows, have they? They're really
bizarre.
And then a couple of weeks after the thing there, then the comedian went up on stage and tried to like shoot a guy at a local event, and they had to start putting armed security guards outside of New York nightclubs and stuff like that.
I'm beginning to think these award shows want someone to storm the stage.
It's like they
are
want the headlines, but they want it to happen almost towards the end of the event so that the whole event isn't just that talk, but they've gotten all that content out there so that you'll talk about the other things too, but also this happened.
It's also, it's that everything's turning into pro wrestling, right? Everything is for pro wrestling now. It's in a world that is now so digitally connected, which is funny because pro wrestling goes the other direction, because back in the day, kayfabe meant that nobody was supposed to know that it was a work, as they call it. But the problem is now they go between their character and being real on social media, and it infuriates people because they never know what they're supposed to be rooting or cheering for. So you can simultaneously be both your character on your Twitter profile and your real self, and they never have to really point it out because the idea is that you're not supposed to know. It's like a new era in kayfabe, and it's really, really funny because now the rest of the world is turning into that because you're always a character. You are your avatar on social media now, so you are your own Shawn Michaels or Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I tuned out of wrestling after Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. That was it for me. I was like, nope, I'm done.
Roman Reigns has been the world champion for like 3 years now. As a bad guy.
Seriously? I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
I liked the Shield.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
They were great. And then they broke them up. And
I was very sad when Seth Rollins got rid of the blonde streak in his hair.
That was depressing.
That's
well, they told him he couldn't even do his move anymore.
No, he brought that. They brought that back. They just can't call it. They can't call it what they called it before. It was called a curb stomp.
Oh.
Yeah. Now they couldn't call it that
American
anymore
History
because
X.
Well, he literally
Yeah.
the move is literally like people are like somebody's on their knees and he just puts his head like foot on the back of your neck and just
Yeah.
slams your head in the face. Speaking of which, Brock Lesnar would take that better than everyone because he just like slammed his own head into the mat.
He would.
He's from Minnesota. He's from
Yeah.
where I'm from. Like he lives up north. So, but yeah, the world now, you are your avatar all the time. So you never know when you're in the real world anymore.
That's kind of how it felt. Like you said, this person was acting like an NPC the whole time.
He was. So he
Brett,
walked up.
could you like show us the clip on the monitor just so
gotta-
they can see what we're talking
Yeah,
about?
so he walked
was
up
like,
and he was standing with them, but he kept trying to stand between individuals so that he could get closer to the microphone, and progressively he's getting closer and closer, and then at the very end he just kind of like moves forward and is like, and then says it.
We may get copyright for this, but we can try it.
think?
I may have to cut it.
So you can stream the Game Awards with no copyright, so I do not think you will get copyright
okay,
unless
cool.
they're trying to erase it from the internet, which they
they
could.
should use it to their advantage, not erase it.
I think they will.
Let's see if we can.
So
find this
it's
here.
way towards the end,
It's the very end.
right before
Yes.
Jeff Keighley comes back on stage.
Yes.
Oh, it's before they go to music. Yeah.
Hey, Matan. You know, real quick, I want to thank everybody and say that I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi, Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
Like
have
Bill
no
Clinton
idea what
is
that
watching this
He's
and
like,
he's just
"Who
like,
are
"What?
you?
I don't know
What
this
did I
man."
do?
He's like, I do not do religion. I'm
Yeah.
Bill Clinton. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
So this journalist named Jason Schreier, which I hadn't heard of before, but
Vera's
Vera
favorite
is very
person.
familiar.
No.
Jason Schreier interviewed Matan after this scandal happened, and he said, just spoke to the guy who interrupted the Game Awards. He says his name is Matan and that he's 15 years old. Some thought his speech was an anti-Semitic dog whistle, but he is almost certainly a Jewish prankster. He understood a question I asked in Hebrew, then pretended he didn't. And also I saw in one of Matan's older videos on YouTube, when he was much younger, he was wearing a shirt that had the exact geolocation of Tel Aviv and like the words Tel Aviv on it. So it's likely that he's Jewish himself, but still like I'm trying to piece together why he would say what he said. Like it makes no sense even if he is Jewish.
Have we confirmed that it is the same person? Because a lot of people were saying,
it's
okay, it's the same person. Okay.
Because he's come out and admitted that it's him.
I love that.
But what's the charge that he's arrested on?
Right. Also, I'd like to point out that, of course, classic Jason Schreier and video game journalists, he didn't actually release the interview that he did. He just said, oh, here's a screenshot where I was on screen with him.
There's
and
no proof.
He mentioned this thing that I thought I took it one way, but there's not an article yet on it. He didn't actually release any clips, so it's Jason Schreier.
Will there? Do you think he'll write an article on it?
He'll probably write an article on it, yes. But he will leave things out, surely.
It's cooler if Alex Jones is in the back. Like, if there's just pans and Alex Jones is at the Video Game Awards. Like, that would be hilarious. He's there in an InfoWars shirt.
I guess that Matan was trying to imply that Bill Clinton is secretly Jewish, but
Why do you need to announce that at
why
the
does that
Game
matter?
Awards?
And there's no way that this guy got into the Game Awards either without someone on the inside
Helping
giving him a pass,
Right.
or just actually sneaking in like Jason Bourne,
Right,
or
because
something.
you can't buy a ticket to the Game Awards. You can buy a ticket to something like E3, but you can't to the Game Awards. So there's
Maybe,
just so many
like,
questions
he
at this
faked
point.
a press pass or something.
He could have, but
It's
usually
so
it's like
much
an
cooler if
invite
that's true.
only.
Yeah.
It's so much cooler if he just like said he was somebody else, like with like just a completely different. Like he took like a woman's name.
Imagine
badge.
And if
it
you just
come-
act confident, people just believe.
Imagine
that
if
you're
it
supposed to
comes
be
out
there.
that they invited him.
Yeah.
Because
But
they
it's
thought
crazy.
he was like someone different and he like provided them different information, but they like actually invited him with his real name. I don't
Who
think
else
so.
who
but
looks 15 years
Right.
old would be allowed at this event? Is
Right.
there like alcohol there, etc.?
Well,
Like,
I mean, they could have
there
been
are
like a voice
concerns
actor on
legally.
something theoretically.
maybe
that could be younger that is there because I mean there are
Well,
you know
there's
children in video
streamers
games, so they probably would invite like the younger kids who were maybe a voice actor for one of these larger games, but there's really not that many kids that go
Yeah.
from what we can see from like the audience.
Jason Schreier said that he's getting Jew-splained too in the responses.
I hate Jason
tweet.
Schreier. I will say it anywhere I go. Jason Schreier sucks.
Jason Schreier, if you're watching this.
Jason Schreier, if you're watching this, unblock me because you can't take a woman's opinion.
Unblock Vera on Twitter, Jason.
We get a super chat from him.
Stop
and he's just
shying
stop being
away.
Mean to me.
Yeah.
Also, it's interesting that he was in there in the thick of like the Freedom for Hong Kong movement, because like I said, the only time I've ever had like really bad like censorship on Instagram was like there were times where I've never had a video like outside of like internet problems not post, but I used to wear like I had a shirt that said Freedom for Hong Kong when I was filming edits in 2020, and every time that thing would be in the thumbnail, the video wouldn't post. It would take 4 or 5 times to post it, and I would have to take a thumbnail where the logo wasn't visible.
Well,
like
maybe Matan is just using this publicity stunt to get more attention onto Hong Kong. Who knows? It's
Maybe he's a Kanye stan.
Maybe he's a Kanye stan. Like, who knows? I want to get this interview released. I want the details.
Right.
Stop toying with us, Jason Schreier. Just put out the video.
He's not going to. He will not.
What was the whole point of this anyway? You know?
I also think that Gen Z is kind of becoming the start of like the nihilist movement for these types of things. Meaning, like, for instance, our next story, we're going to talk about people that care too much about the opinions of other people, and we're moving into an era where maybe there's so much scrutiny that you just give up and you're like, whatever. And
I'm going to walk onto a stage
Yeah.
at an award show and say this. Like, what does it matter anymore?
So does this mean that Alex Jones should stream during the Game Awards? That's what I think.
Schreier literally called Matan Evan in 2019 a rising star of the conservative movement at like 11 or 12 years old.
How can you say that about a child?
That's really creepy.
That's just so like
I would
it's
understand
funny,
like,
but also weird.
Right, 16 or 17, you're almost an adult.
I hope they got parental permission to do
Yep.
that interview, but also like you're on InfoWars. Like, do you understand the implications of that?
Dad, I got invited on this podcast. What's the name of the podcast, son?
It's just
InfoWars.
a podcast.
Well, that sounds lovely. You should do the info.
Good job, son. I'm proud of you.
I like info. Information is good. You should do that. I don't quite get the wars part of it.
This is just
Who is
so
Alex
bizarre.
Jones?
Is it like Star Wars?
Also, like, Jason Schreier is getting criticism mainly for giving him more attention, but it's like if you pretend that this didn't happen, you're just going to.
Well, that's the thing, is Jason Schreier is like in an echo chamber. It's his audience that tells him we shouldn't give attention to people that have done bad things and we should cancel them.
Yeah.
But he clearly wants to hear this kid's side of the story, or he wants clout. Classic Jason Schreier. And now those people are attacking him over it.
This is
classic Jason Schreier. That's what I always say.
It's not that we can't listen to both sides or at least even hear just general information.
This is my favorite meme from the entire night. It says Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, and then it's got Bill Clinton as like the Shiva dog chasing him off with a baseball bat.
Bill Clinton's PR team is so confused right now.
No, they're loving it right now. Like, this is the kind of attention you can't buy. Like, this is like you gotta, like, when you're an out of touch person. Granted, if I was Bill Clinton, I might want to stay as far away from scrutiny as possible, but like if you're like a celebrity and you get this type of viral attention, this is great for your brand, as long as you're not somebody who has to run away from being on flight logs for certain people.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right.
But it's and somebody in the chat says, who's this Jason guy?
He's just a video game journalist. He used to work for Kotaku, now he works for Bloomberg. He is terrible.
Is he the rare example of like the games journalist that actually did make it on to like a mainstream publication? Because most of them want to work for the mainstream publications but don't.
Right. Well, he got hired by Bloomberg for their like entertainment section that they started, which it's not surprising that he got on because he was one of the larger journalists. But
are there any you like?
bad.
Are there any journalists you think do good work? That answers
we might
that
have,
question.
We might have a couple of them on the show in the new year.
There are some individuals that I think work
really
good, like Bounding into Comics. Bounding into Comics is pretty good.
Does great work. John Delarose is going to will be doing this show, and he writes for Bounding into Comics. I like I appreciate it. Like, even when you have your slant, I appreciate that you write what you know. And like, but also like most of them, if you're writing in that sphere, they're doing so you're reading it under the assumption that that we all have our bias. And those magazines, like Abounding into Comics, what side of things will generally be on.
Right.
Because just like when you read Kotaku, or just like when you read Collider,
Polygon,
or the Mary Sue. Mary Sue. Who doesn't love the Mary Sue?
Great. Love it.
I'm loving that Bill Clinton's replies on Twitter right now are getting flooded with respond to the allegations.
Right.
Respond to this. What are your thoughts on this?
Imagine if he puts up like a video and is like, I have no affiliation with this person, and then everyone will be talking about that, so it'll go on for another
There's
week.
like a new promotional poster for Elden Ring that has Bill Clinton on the cover. I love this. Yes. I love this timeline.
I even saw a photoshopped image of Bill Clinton holding something, and it was Elden Ring. Someone photoshopped him holding Elden Ring.
So this is like,
love it.
As much as I hate the internet some days, and I do believe that the internet's probably going to be the downfall of civilization. We were not meant to all be connected all the time. It's horrible. The creativity in meme culture is maybe the greatest thing that's ever happened to the world. Memetics are the most powerful form of information transfer we have, and it really does, like, for a lot of people, it's kind of like, I talked to a friend who talked about it, he's like, I feel like I connect with people better, like my autistic side connects with people better through memes than I could ever connect with people in the real world.
I mean, yeah.
And like there's aspects of that are true, but you have to be like to understand that that's a certain type of communication.
Right.
But it's still so new. Like I've told the story that like there is a meme about a meme job that it says like work for this. It was like a Fortune 500 company making $80K a year as a meme maker.
That's how the millennials afford their avocado toast.
And it said never give up, never let your parents tell you your dreams are stupid. Like imagine that, like you got hired just to be
professional meme maker.
I honestly think though that companies do need to hire more people that are just in touch with social media and their audience, and that happens to be memes a lot of the time.
It doesn't work at the corporate level. Have you seen the
especially
Pfizer?
Not when the meme makers are like in their 30s.
Have you seen?
Well, right, they need younger people who understand
But
what's funny.
It won't matter because that will never be approved by the people coming above.
Right.
What's funny has to be irreverent.
Right.
And they're not capable of doing that.
Well, and the dissemination of it can't come through more people than one. When somebody creates a meme, that's an army of one creating a message for everyone to read and see. When you have to do it and then get corporate approval for your meme, the Pfizer memes are the most dystopian. It's the girl meme like this. This is what you're not boosted, and it's the most unfunny, not creative stuff you've ever
not to
seen.
even mention their collaboration with Marvel.
Not as bad as the Marvel Avengers comic.
I'm sure you saw that.
Yeah.
So, but like it is awful to imagine. Like I don't want memes corporatized. I want freedom for memes. I don't want them being
Elon Musk, if you're hearing this,
I may
freedom
be
for memes.
Yes.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm a libertarian, but I actually want regulation. I don't want the corporate. Once your corporation gets over a certain size, you're not allowed to use memes for ads. There have been some awful ones lately. Like sometimes I'll get stuck on like on Instagram, you get like corporate memes as you're scrolling, and I'll be like, oh my, it's like a slow motion car wreck, and you're like, this got approved by someone. This is not just unfunny. It doesn't make any sense.
It's like AI isn't able to fully imitate the tone that human beings can read. Therefore, it's just never going to be the same.
It's like a situation happened a couple of weeks ago. The Need for Speed, the new game, was coming out at the time. It came out like a week ago. And they had someone on their PR team who was responding to people who were criticizing the monetization of the game, and they were memes, but they were typing the memes. They weren't like the actual photo memes, so people who didn't understand memes got mad, and they didn't come across as memes. Like, I am around the internet, so I get the template they were going for, but it came across as so terrible, and they face so much backlash over it because they hire people who just don't understand how to connect with their consumers.
And it's like, here's proof that college is unnecessary. You can't teach a meme course in college.
Or if you try, it'll be woke.
It would be
boring and unfunny.
The only way you could do it would be roasting the class. Like it literally would have to be about making fun of the class and how stupid it is.
And the students aren't capable of taking a joke at their own expense.
And the teachers would not be capable of dealing with criticism.
Yeah. They're just old, out of touch baby boomers teaching young, out of touch Gen Zers.
Look, I love when my dad sends me memes in video. Like it's just so, I love the boomers. Like I love it. It gives me great heart, especially when it's stuff that's very clearly not real. and they don't know. Like, I get a kick out of that stuff. But like you said, that's a breakdown in language. We are now we're not just communicating across space and time. We're communicating across whole generations of people, where you're having conversations about stuff that you would never have with somebody of a certain age, right? Like when I talk to my dad on the internet, it's not the same thing as talking to him in person, and it changes the structure of your conversation. Like, we haven't been around long enough, nor has the internet been around long enough to really know how it's going to affect the way the world is. It kind of speaks to what I was talking about earlier with Jennifer Lawrence. Even just communicating through transcript is different than communicating through spoken word.
Yes.
And as we develop new ways of communicating with one another, there will be hardships and there will be Pfizer memes and awful things like that. But on the whole, it's better. And like I said, the whole of what a lot of our elections have now been swayed by meme culture. Like, the power of memetics is not to be discounted, but it is a fascinating thing to look at how quickly these things disseminate and how it kind of becomes a proving point for what's organic and what isn't.
Right.
It's almost a litmus test for organic interest in things.
Right.
Like, do you remember when... People are going to love this in the chat. Fast and the Furious 9 was coming out. They had all of the memes about family that were all very much corporate plan. Like, it made it for about 2 days before people started to realize it wasn't authentic.
Right.
Because like some of them got so absurd that they weren't funny anymore.
Right.
So it's something you can't teach, and these events are going to happen as things go. I watch a lot of old great commercials. Like, a lot of one of my things that I like to follow is like commercials from the 90s. Yes. And a lot of that there's memetics in the way they did these commercials, because they were oh my gosh, so random commercials that would fit better into a picture template now. But a lot of the sports ones from back then, there's this great one of Mike Piazza. He's a catcher for a baseball team, whereas like his girlfriend's like, we're having trouble communicating, so he gets up on his hind legs and does like his symbols under the under thing. That would actually work as a meme. But it's really funny because the communication is changing. So, what one was your favorite of the Bill Clinton ones?
Wait, what do you mean?
Of the Bill Clinton memes, which one did you like the most?
Like, I just saw like a promotional poster that had for Elden Ring that had Bill Clinton on it. Like, it looked real.
It's there's the cover of it right there's look at the game, like you can see that one on screen. That one's incredible. Like, I just like, that's the democratization of the internet. I love it. Let's go for it.
It's also funny to a bunch of people who don't have living memory of Bill Clinton being president. So
yeah,
and that's going to happen too. Like he will be famous to a whole generation of kids now for a reason completely different to Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, Bill Clinton,
bad trade
that
deals,
Game Awards guy.
Bill Clinton Google Trends up by 500%.
Yeah, like that's like you will have a whole nother life now if you had your fame as a politician or as an actor, you can get a whole nother life out of a meme and then be brought back into relevance.
Maybe he's going to capitalize on this.
He's gonna. This is
not
gonna push
smart
him
enough to.
He's gonna make this as an announcement,
not.
and then Hillary's going to announce for 2024, and then we're all screwed. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.